Welcome to a new series that I've been planning for quite some time, in which I'll explore the dark side of various websites and apps, from popular and well-known sites in the UK and USA, such as eBay and Quora, to more obscure sites that are popular in other countries, like Freak.no and VK, the focus of today's video. This might not be the first episode, as I think by the time this is up, I will have already uploaded a video on Replika. Anyway, while on the surface, many of these websites may seem harmless and entertaining, this series will reveal the darker underbelly, uncovering shocking scandals, disturbing posts, illegal activity, hidden agendas, and more. Let's investigate. If you enjoy internet mysteries and generally disturbing content, feel free to subscribe and turn on notifications for more content like this. If you're interested in supporting the channel, you can become a Ko-fi member or a channel member to gain access to uncut videos and other perks, or you can leave me a tip by clicking the thanks under this video. Thanks to anyone who considers this. VK, also known as VKontakte, is a Russian social media platform launched in 2006 that is widely known as the Russian equivalent of Facebook. It is the most popular social networking site in Russia and one of the most popular in Europe, with over 500 million registered users. While VK has legitimate uses, it has also been a breeding ground for controversy, with countless disturbing and controversial posts over the years, as well as various scandals that have given it a mixed reputation, from propaganda and disinformation to the facilitation of hate crimes and grooming, and CP. Before we get into the content on VK itself, let's start with some background on its founder, Pavel Durov, a self-described libertarian who launched VK in 2006. This guy is honestly fascinating. He only wears black clothes. You can find many stories online of ridiculous and sometimes amusing things he's done, from tossing paper airplanes made out of cash from his office window and watching pedestrians fight over them, to various inflammatory comments he's posted on social media. Back in the early days of VK, there were rumours that Pavel wasn't even a real person, but instead some kind of avatar or fictional character. Shortly after, anti-Kremlin protests broke out as a result of the 2011 election to the Duma, the Russian government demanded that Pavel block opposition groups from using the site, and he refused, leading to a standoff with the police outside his home in St. Petersburg. The police were left with no option to leave when Pavel had not answered the door for over an hour, after he had posted a photo of a dog wearing a hoodie with its tongue sticking out online. In April, he was accused of hitting a traffic policeman with his car, and a video of the alleged incident involving a white Mercedes emerged online. Police searched his home and the VK offices and presumably found nothing incriminating. A VK spokesperson denied Pavel's involvement and said he doesn't even own a car, let alone a white Mercedes. Pavel took the opportunity to post a status online saying, "When you drive over a policeman, it's very important to drive back and forward a few times to squeeze out all the soft parts." When Mail.ru Group, who owned less than a 50% share in VK, moved to buy a bigger share, Pavel posted a photo on Instagram of him sticking his middle finger up with the caption, "An official reply to trash holding company Mail.ru and its recent attempts to take over VK." On the 1st of April 2014, Pavel, CEO of VK at the time, submitted his resignation to the board, then 2 days later claimed it was an April Fool's joke. However, he was dismissed on the 21st, as apparently he had failed to recall his resignation. Between these two occurrences, he had publicly refused to hand over the personal data of Ukrainian protesters to Russian security agencies, and declined to block the VK page run by Alexei Navalny, a Russian opposition leader, claiming that these requests were unlawful. Following his dismissal, he claimed that the company had been taken over by Vladimir Putin's allies, and then he left Russia, stating that, quote, "The country is incompatible with internet business at the moment." He then gained citizenship in St. Kitts and Nevis by donating $250,000 to the country's Sugar Industry Diversification Foundation, then founded Telegram and eventually moved to Dubai. Anyway, onto the controversy surrounding VK itself. Let's start with propaganda and disinformation. The spreading of false or misleading information to sway public opinion is nothing new. However, the internet, particularly social media, has made it easier than ever before. The Russian government has been known to use social media to promote its agendas, painting the government in a positive light while discrediting opposition leaders and other countries and criticising Western and liberal values. The Russian government believes in traditional values, which often equates to intolerance and inequality for certain types of people, like those who are LGBTQ+, who are often vilified on VK. The government has also used VK to spread disinformation about other countries, particularly the United States, including various conspiracy theories relating to US involvement in the Syrian civil war, for example. In recent times, VK has also been used to spread propaganda about Ukraine and the origins of the ongoing war with Ukraine, with claims such as that the 2014 Ukrainian revolution was backed by the West with the purpose of isolating Russia, leaving it vulnerable to Western hostility. There have also been false claims of Ukraine using biological weapons against Russia in certain regions, and that the US government has been funding the laboratories that create them. The government propaganda is hardly surprising considering VK's links to the Kremlin, as its CEO, Vladimir Kiriyenko, is the son of one of Vladimir Putin's most powerful aides. In February 2022, Kiriyenko was sanctioned by the US Department of the Treasury and added to the specially designated nationals and blocked persons list. The following month, he was sanctioned by the European Union. As with most social media sites these days, VK has become a hotbed for a wide range of conspiracy theories in general. Pro-Kremlin narratives are more common on VK than elsewhere, but it's also home to various popular conspiracies that spread throughout the West too, such as ones relating to COVID, 5G, vaccines, 9/11, climate change denial, Holocaust denial, and more. These conspiracy theories can have far-reaching consequences, for example influencing an individual's medical decisions and reinforcing harmful attitudes based on misinformation. Another problem with VK that goes hand in hand with propaganda and conspiracy theories is the spread of hate speech and extremist content. VK has been criticised for allowing far-right and neo-Nazi groups to circulate and promote their discriminatory and prejudiced views against certain groups of people, as well as recruiting new members. One of the most notorious far-right groups on the site is the Russian Imperial Movement, or RIM, which was classified as a terrorist organisation by the US in 2020 due to its involvement in violent attacks and terrorist plots. The RIM has existed since 2002, and with its neo-Nazi ideology, it dreams of creating a white, authoritarian state in Russia. It has tens of thousands of members in various groups and pages on VK, and has used the site to organise events and demonstrations. The Caucasus Emirate, a now defunct jihadist organisation with the goal of removing the Russian presence in the North Caucasus and establishing an independent Islamic emirate in the region, has been known to use VK to spread their narrative and recruit new members, and they have claimed responsibility for a number of attacks, including the 2010 Moscow metro bombings that resulted in 30 deaths and over 100 injuries, and the 2011 Domodedovo airport bombings, which killed at least 36 people. Other far-right groups that have used VK include the Slavic Union and the National Socialist Society, which was banned in Moscow in February 2010. The following year, 13 members of the group were found guilty of committing 28 racially motivated murders and over 50 attacks on non-Russians and LGBT people. VK has been used to organise hate crimes against the LGBTQ+ community, who have been targeted with cyberbullying and online harassment through the site. There have been posts about a gay hunting game where users would post photos and personal information, such as the addresses of gay men, and encourage others to harass and attack them. In 2013, neo-Nazi group Occupy Paedophilia, which has over 90,000 members on VK, used the site to lure gay men into meetings where they would be beaten and humiliated, and in some cases, forcibly drugged. These incidents were sometimes filmed and uploaded to VK, where they were viewed thousands of times and praised by others who also held homophobic views. The Guardian contacted VK's press officer about such content in 2014, and he responded, "We do our best to remove the content that violates our terms of service as fast as possible. Videos of violence and abuse are forbidden. We also block and delete communities where users call to violence or illegal actions against gay people or any other people. Please note that we are the only Russian social network that lets its users select a same-sex person when specifying their relationship status, but it is very important for VKontakte to be an independent company, equidistant from any ideological position or belief. People can express themselves freely as long as they don't commit illegal acts or call others to those." Cyberbullying and harassment in general has been a significant problem on VK, not just as a result of discrimination against certain groups. In 2017, a young man posted a video of himself dancing on the site, which was shared thousands of times, with many people ridiculing and insulting him, even sending death threats. This went on for months, and eventually the man was forced to leave the country to escape the abuse. In 2019, a teenage girl posted a selfie on the site which went viral, attracting thousands of negative comments, with people insulting her and contacting her even after she deleted the post and her account. She eventually attempted to take her own life as a result. Tragically, there have been cyberbullying cases where people have been successful in taking their own lives, including Irina Slavina, a prominent journalist who had used her platform to criticise the Russian government and local authorities. For many weeks prior to her death, she was a target of intense harassment and bullying on VK and other social media sites, and received death threats as well as insults and derogatory comments, including some that were misogynistic. While it was likely a contributing factor, it would be unfair to blame her death entirely on the bullying she experienced online, as she had also been interrogated by police, who had seized her electronic devices and accused her of spreading fake news and extremist content. On the 2nd of October 2020, she set herself on fire in front of the police headquarters in Nizhny Novgorod after posting a message on Facebook blaming the Russian Federation for her death. Among the many groups and communities that exist on VK, there are a few that centre around SH and unaliving, which have been criticised for promoting and glorifying such topics. Some of these have thousands of members and have featured graphic photos and videos, as well as discussions of methods. Back in 2016, there was an article in the Russian newspaper Novaya Gazeta that linked a number of cases of teenagers taking their own lives to membership of a group, F57, on VK. The article claimed that the group had encouraged 130 of these teenagers to do that through a game that was dubbed the Blue Whale Challenge, which reportedly consisted of a series of tasks to be completed over the span of 50 days, starting out with innocent activities like drawing a whale on a sheet of paper and posting a status on VK with the words #IamWhale, progressing to dangerous tasks involving SH, and eventually jumping off a high building. Word spread quickly about this challenge, which purportedly existed in several countries in addition to Russia, with deaths allegedly linked to it in Brazil, China, India, and Egypt, and people were understandably alarmed. However, I'm not sure if there's any credible evidence to suggest that anyone actually participated in the challenge. According to multiple sources, in 2017, 21-year-old Philip Budaykin, who was reportedly one of the men behind the challenge, pled guilty to inciting at least 16 teenage girls to take their own lives. But there are just as many sources stating that the whole challenge was a hoax, so I'm not really sure what to believe. I could dig into this a lot further and do a whole separate video on it if anyone's interested. Let me know in the comments. SH isn't the only dangerous topic that people have posted about on VK. It has also become a hub for discussions about drugs, with countless posts from users sharing their experiences with drugs and even dealers advertising their products. Users have been known to post photos and videos of themselves taking drugs, sometimes demonstrating how to do so, and posts using coded language to avoid detection. There was a small-scale trend a few years ago called the Smoke Bucket Challenge, not long after the more popular Ice Bucket Challenge, where users would get a bucket of water and an empty plastic bottle that would be filled with smoke from whatever drug, then inhale it. There are also videos and playlists romanticising smoking cigarettes, for example with titles like Smoking Aesthetics. Drug use is an increasingly significant issue in Russia. Between 2019 and 2020, there was a 16% increase in the number of deaths that occurred as a result of OD, so promotion and glorification of them on VK and elsewhere on the internet is particularly dangerous. Not all drug-related groups on VK are detrimental. Some spread awareness of the risks, and others give unbiased and non-judgmental information on how to use them safely. If you can't stop people taking them, the next best thing is to minimise the risk of it going wrong. According to the Russian Interior Ministry, VK is the main site in Russia that dealers use to sell their products and link to other platforms selling them, with Twitter holding second place. Some of these dealers target young people who may not be as educated about the risks as adults. VK also contains various content relating to SA. There have been videos shared on the site showing people being SA'd, as well as posts promoting this type of violence, describing how to do it and how to get away with it. Sometimes these videos are posted by the perpetrators themselves to either boast about their crimes or intimidate the victims, and it goes without saying that these can be traumatic to the victims and triggering to others. Fortunately, I didn't come across any of these posts myself, just discussions about them, so hopefully they are swiftly removed. But then again, I wasn't actively looking for these videos. There have been many cases of CP being shared on the site too. In fact, apparently it was once so easily accessible that all you had to do was type CP into the search bar and you'd be met with countless examples. In 2021, 2 individuals were arrested after they uploaded, quote, highly objectionable and sexually explicit CP to attract buyers. A similar incident occurred in 2019 when a 24-year-old man from Thailand, who was the administrator of a CP site, was arrested after posting somewhat censored CP on VK and various other platforms, then charging people to see the uncut versions on his website. The site reportedly had up to 200,000 followers, and 800 of those were paying for this content, bringing in a profit of 300,000 baht, which equates to over £7,000. The man had apparently started exploring ways of recording women and young girls without their consent to gain more inappropriate content to post on the site. Social media platforms in general are used by predators to groom children, and VK is no exception, with cases of men posing as teenagers to talk to minors, and others where unsolicited, inappropriate photos have been sent to children. The site has also been criticised generally due to the vast amount of not safe for work content that is easily accessible to children. Russian laws surrounding adult content are not very clear. It's technically against the law to publicly display such content on the internet. That doesn't mean that all sites containing it are illegal, but if you upload it on VK, where anyone can access it without age verification, you could be prosecuted, and there are a few documented cases of actual prison sentences as a result in the past. That said, the law is applied very inconsistently, so much so that many users don't mind taking the risk. Because copyright isn't enforced in Russia, and specifically on VK, as strictly as some other countries, this has led to various types of content popping up on VK for free that people should otherwise be paying for. Not just adult content, but music, movies, etc. too. A lot of the types of content mentioned in this video are not exclusive to VK. You can find it on Facebook, Reddit, Twitter, and other social media sites, but VK seems a little less strict in its policing of the site. The majority of the problematic content is against VK's guidelines, and countless posts have been removed and groups banned that blatantly violate the terms of service, but they have been criticised time and time again for not doing enough. And as they implied when questioned about the homophobic content, they don't intend to remove content that is offensive or even dangerous as long as it isn't illegal. All that said, VK absolutely can be, and often is, used in a positive way. Just like Facebook or Instagram, it provides a way for people to stay in contact with friends and family, especially useful for people who live far away from their loved ones. It can also be used for reconnecting with old friends or meeting new people and finding new hobbies or connecting with people who share the same interests as you. It provides a platform for artists and musicians to promote their work and engage with their fans, and for businesses to advertise their products or services, and so much more. Overall, while there arguably are fair criticisms to be made about the way that VK operates, much of the controversial content can largely be attributed to some of its users. In a way, it can be seen as a representation of humanity, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts in the comments, plus any suggestions you might have for a future episode of this series. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing. Huge thank you to my Ko-fi members and channel members whose names are on screen now. I really appreciate your support. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next Thursday in a new video.